You're listening to Ozzy's Radio Half Hour. Here is your host, Ozzy. Good evening, listeners, coming at you live from the northwestern suburbs of Melbourne. This is Ozzy, and welcome one and all. This is episode 3, and that intro was brought to you by Van Halen, their song Judgment Day. It is just on 9:30. The date is the 25th of February 2022. Now, just got a couple of housekeeping issues. Thanks for all your subscribers, my subscribers coming in. I've had a bit of an influx of subscribers, which is good. So thank you for helping out the channel. Thanks to Eric Farmer, Ken Rotman, Mad Pieman, Joe Dirt, people who I've missed. You're all up there with the best. So let's get started anyway. So there's a lot been going on in the past month or so. So what about, we can't really say about anything about the you-know-what. Although I still question the you-know-what, I still question everything, and I still keep getting no answer from it. And it is getting to a point where things are going to start to get a bit heated. I think there's news coming out of the Ukraine and Russia that Russia's started some war with Ukraine. It might I don't know if it'll do much for Australia. It'll keep I think the prices of things will go up a little bit. Petrol's almost, I'm predicting petrol's going to go up $2 a litre. It's just really odd. I've seen, I still see people wearing their, their thing over their face, and I'm not really liking it. I think we can do better, and I don't think people are. I think people are getting the message, but I don't think a lot of people are staying put with the whole thing. I think people are falling for all this this stuff. So if you are falling for it, just be warned that I may come out and clip you on the ear. The other day I went to a nice little cafe in Williamstown. I don't remember where exactly it is, but if you know the area well, it's basically on the main street near the ocean, where there's an Italian restaurant and an ice creamery. It's kind of in that area, and you're able to eat outside. So we ate outside. A good friend of mine and I ate outside our lunch. We didn't get asked for any green card or anything, because he knew that what happened was, he goes, look, follow my lead. We're going to go and just, he goes, if we get kicked out, if we don't have, show them our, what card or whatever, we don't have the what, obviously. So I said, look, we're running the gauntlet here, and I don't really want to add another case to my list of discrimination cases with VCAT, and because I at the moment I do have 4 pending cases with VCAT, and it's I don't think it's looking pretty at the moment. I am defending myself, and yeah, it's going to be a bit of a long haul. These courts aren't opening, and they're being quite difficult. So, and the respondents, I don't think they're. I think they're being very tight-lipped, or they're probably trying to counter it, or try as they might, the truth will prevail. So yeah, going back to this cafe thing, we did not get asked once. The reason why was my mate, he knew that they were economically not viable. These businesses, they're not economically viable. They're going bankrupt. Their rents are too high. They're not even making even. They're not even breaking even. Even like before all this happened, before all this shutdown happened, a lot of businesses weren't even making bang for their buck. They weren't breaking even, and they weren't making a lot of money. I did also go to a bar in Williamstown. I won't name it because then they'll most likely shut it down, but there is a bar there that in that area, and a friend of mine works there, and I was hoping to see her working there, but I did see her boss there, and I did have a chat with him, and he was saying that there was no lunch service. We wanted to have lunch there, and there was no lunch service, and this was midweek, and it was very, very quiet. And I didn't even think he had any pub, I didn't think he had any beer on tap in the pub. And I asked him a few questions, and he was proudly, you know what. He didn't get the you know what, and I don't think a couple of his workers did or something, but just goes to show that there's a lot of businesses out there that are willing to hire people that don't have the you know what. And yeah, it was a bit of fresh air. But this guy was, you could tell that he was struggling. You could see it in his eyes that I think he only had, he probably only had a month left. I think he's probably only got a month's left. So yeah, it's a bit of a tough time for these people. And he did say to me, he goes, "Oh, I think we're going to be over the worst of it now." However, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they get what I think's going to happen. I think they're going to roll back a lot of this stuff because they want to show us the cinematic of war with Russia and Ukraine. I think they want to get that started, just so it can shift our focus. I think that is probably the main point, or the shift of focus. They probably want all of us to unite to go to war or defend. Fair enough if you're going to defend yourself, but to defend government is slavery. Government is slavery. That's what I always say. Government is slavery. And just go look up Mark Passio. You'll find out whatever you need from him. And yeah, lately I haven't really been doing much. I have and I haven't. I've been doing a lot of personal reflection, trying to do learn a bit about some shadow work with what Mark Passio has been teaching. I've been catching up a lot of his episodes. So if you are on YouTube, subscribe to Mark Passio. Get his arc drive if you have the money and the means and the know-how. He is very fussy about his ARC drive. You have to basically send him a portable hard drive to him. He's not local. He lives in the United States, in Pennsylvania. So you will be expected to send whatever, the hard drive and whatever else, bubble wrap, and he doesn't want it wrapped in newspaper. He's very specific about what he wants. So, and it is quite expensive. I think it could be about $300 by the time you get it back to you. A friend of mine has just sent it off, and he's gonna he's never really sent off a major package like this before in his life. And Mark Passio's expecting everyone to know how to do this, and he's calling everyone dummies, and you're just dumb, son, you're just dumb. So if you do have time, if you do have a spare moment, go watch his live streams. He does get a bit angry, but that's just the way he is, and that is a fair call from him, because he has been dicked around a lot in the past 10 or 12 years trying to get the message out. A lot of his followers have probably backstabbed him. They've probably stolen a lot of work from him, and he's just trying to recoup lost profits, lost time, lost money, and he's not earning that much. So just, if you do have a bit of money, go buy the ARC drive, go donate. So a lot of these people need a bit of a leg up. I've noticed even a lot of people getting some radiation sickness from the 5G. Ken Rotman, who has a channel on here, did do a small show, or a small video on it. Get well soon, Ken. I did see him in the chat. He is doing well. It just doesn't. It's probably not good that he lives, near a cell tower, and he's not protected from the elements as he lives. He does live in a caravan, but if you guys want to subscribe to their channels, I think they might have a donation thing. I'm not sure if they do. Kindly donate, because they are doing it tough too. I don't have anything set up for donations. It would be nice, but at the moment, currently, I'm not struggling financially yet. So I did lose my job, as you know. I did lose my subsequential job after that job fell through. I got a redundancy out of that. But then I went and got another job, and that fell through because I wouldn't take the what. So what's going to happen soon, I think, is that they're gonna start. They're either going to still keep us from working, or they're going to have a two-tiered system, or they're going to, which is highly unlikely, they're going to wind back everything. I think they're going to wind back a few things, but they're not going to wind back everything, and then all of a sudden they're going to start locking us down again, or locking us up again. Going into winter, I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to start their silly games again, and you know who these figureheads are. I don't think I need to say any more. I don't really want to say too much about who's who in the zoo. And another thing too, Canberra, I don't think that the people there that are going are doing it the right way. However, there are some people within that group that are there for the right reasons. However, again, I don't think that banging on a drum and protesting in Canberra is the right way to go about it. If you do some research, type in the Kingdom of Australia, Stephen Spears, read his white papers, at least the introduction to the white papers on how Australia was taken over by corporations. And I've noticed there's another guy who is quite similar, but I don't think he goes under any of this Kingdom of Australia type cult kind of thing. So I used to be part of the Kingdom of Australia cult, and they're not good people, they're not good groups. It's not a good group, but the white papers are good if you can get your hands on them. They're good reading material because it actually tells you the true history of Australia, from Federation. So it probably doesn't go back from as far as European settlement. It does mention it before a little bit, but it doesn't really touch on it that much. So if you can get your hands on that, let me know. I'll see if I can point you in the right direction, or just do a Google search on Stephen Spears and the white papers. He's got a website. You'd be able to purchase, I think, from the shop. He's got something, the white papers in there. And there's another guy called John Krieg, John Kreig. If you look him up on Google and YouTube, he's another good one. So what? This is just my opinion on the whole thing. If the truckers in Canada, if they look, there's a card game called the Illuminati card game, right? And that came about in the mid-90s. In the mid-1990s, like 1995, 94, they had a card game that was released, and it's called the Illuminati card game. And it shows clearly, there was a picture of one of the cards, and there was a guy on a channel that had these old cards, the old deck, and he showed up the trucker's card. So, and it clearly, you can't make this stuff up. These cards were printed in the mid-90s, and you could tell that they were new old stock, and they were just open, they were just fresh, but they were bigger cards. And a friend of mine, he just recently bought the new set of the Illuminati card game, and it's a quite smaller card. It's actually like a credit card size card, like playing card, whereas the other ones were like double or triple the size of them. They were big cards, right? Anyway, this card shows trucker strike. It just said, on the top, trucker strike, and it had what appeared to be a trucker, and he looked Canadian. He had the the jacket on and all this stuff, and tartan jacket and the boots and the hat, in the winter. And then there was all the snow around it, and then it had these truck, So they had this planned. If that was in that game, they had it planned. If it's in a movie, if it's in a board game, if it's in a video game, card game, anything that's print media or anything, they've had it planned, right? Now, I've been talking about it with a lot of people on here. I'd say, Ken Rotman, Mad Pieman, props to you guys. I'm just adding some more information of mine. I don't, I could be wrong. You could, I could be wrong too. It's, but I just feel that some of the organisations that are running all this stuff, I think they're massively controlled by government to try and create some sort of division and inadvertently create anger and resentment, so which could eventually lead to a riot. You know, I'm not promoting violence or riots or, you know, protests. I'm not doing that. I don't condone it, but if you want to go, by all means do it. But I'm not condoning it. I have been to a couple of protests, but whenever I have been told to move on by the police, I don't mess with them. I don't know enough to question their ability to rule over me because I'm just a citizen. I haven't taken any, I haven't really taken any major oath to anything or anyone, so I'm not really at that point of knowledge to know any better. So I won't be doing that. This is partly the reason even now there's a lot of there's less people going to Melbourne protests. There's been a dwindling effect on that, and yeah, there doesn't seem to be much going on in Melbourne, but Melbourne makes sense because what they should have done was they should have gone to the governor's house in large numbers like they did in Canberra. They should have gone to the governor's house in Melbourne, to Linda Dessau. They should have gone to her, and if we had big numbers that would just not comply and they were there, it would show them a strong force too. But what I don't think they really care about us. But what in the governor's, in the Victorian governor's palace or whatever, they have a thing called the blue chair. The blue chair is, it's waiting on someone to sit there to be, throned a king or a queen. So there is some sort of coronation chair or stone or something significant there that will anchor that to that as well. A lot of people are saying that there's a stone that's anchored at the shrine. There's a lot of things anchored at the shrine. There's a lot of old buildings and regalia and everything like that everywhere in Melbourne, because Melbourne was the first capital city of Australia in the old times, in the old corporation. So, you're probably better off if you want to fight for the old corporation, for God, King and Country, but we're fighting to get out of both corporations, so it's probably not ideal to do what to do that. So we're kind of stuck. I think Australia is basically registered in Norfolk Island. We're terra nullius. No one lives here. They've basically canned us into a position where we don't know nothing. We don't know our true law, we don't know our natural law, and I don't think anyone at Canberra probably knows about anything, except for there was an Aboriginal guy that I can't remember who video. I think it was Julia Babebnek. She went up to Canberra. Years ago I used to play in a band with her, I recall. She used to be a drummer in one of our bands. And she was saying, she was videotaping this guy that got up on the stage, and he was Indigenous, and he was explaining how the Holy See and the Vatican, in line with the City of London, Canberra, and who else? Washington DC, have taken over the world, have stolen, money and our generations of wealth, and taxed us through the hill. And that was interesting. But one of the organisers, as soon as he said that, was kind of trying to rush him off the stage. Was trying to, because there was another speaker trying to get on the stage after him. But I kind of wanted him to speak a bit more, because the other speaker just talking rubbish. What do I think about these new politicians? I don't trust them all. Bosey, he's basically a general. ex-military, from where was it? Wherever he went to, military. He's not even Australian. He's like, I wouldn't, not Iran, but there's another thing for it. Anyway, you've got Ricardo Bossi. He thinks he's a military man and he doesn't know what he's doing. Then you got the two fat men. I can't remember who they are. Craig Kelly and the big billionaire mining magnate, whatever his name is. You got all these people in there. You've got Pauline Hanson. She should have been Prime Minister already, but she's too weak. She even, like, you have a look at her when we had the truck blockades last year. She was the very one that was like gingerly asking the truck driver to not block for too long, just block for about 30 seconds on the freeway. It was all set up. All this stuff that you see now is all paid actors. All these new political parties, they're all paid actors. You know what? This is just my opinion. Don't take it to heart. Don't think that I'm crazy, but this is just my thing. I would go up to the polling booth when and if we have an election, and vote no. Cross out all of them. If it's a paper ballot, cross out all of them. Get an outline texter, colour in, and scribble over it and say, look, no, cross out all the boxes, scribble over the boxes so they can't, create a vote, and just write in thick black text, no suitable candidate required, no suitable candidate. So, yeah, like, that's it. Because they're not suitable, none of them are suitable. And going back to Bossi, he's just an Israeli insurgent. He's just an Israeli terrorist. That's all he is. They all work for Israel. They all work for them. Same with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the same. Basically, just an arm under Israel and the New World Order. They're just New World Order puppets. The thing is that they're going into the same Westminster system with new politicians. That's all it is, right? And I'll be surprised if Bossi or Cullerton or whoever get in, right? Like, I'd be amazed if they got in, but I'd even be more amazed if they started to change things around here, which I don't think they will. I highly doubt that they will. So it is an interesting time in politics and the world as it is. That I haven't seen anything to help me. Nothing. You have a look at ScoMo, right? The man can't even weld. He can't. He barely knows basic safety elements of a safe workplace. Let alone run a country. Let alone be marketing manager for Australia. Where the bloody hell are you? He was gone AWOL for 2 weeks while Australia burnt. He was on holiday in Hawaii, mate. How do you think these idiots are going to bring back the country? They're not. And Craig Kelly was once Liberal, right? How do you think he's going to be under Australia One Party, right? Australia One is just basically an extension of the Liberal Party. If you're going to vote for them, they're going to just put a vote for Liberal or Labor in your electorate. So just be wary of that too. I know you guys don't want to waste your votes, but I'd be putting in a vote of no confidence for all members of Parliament, no matter who they are. I don't care, right? And to all these people that are fake, and it's either you're either a musician, you're a fake freedom activist or whatever. uh, don't follow me. Don't bother being my friend. Don't follow me. You know who you are. Just yeah, like if you respect my views, that's fine. If we can get along, but if you're going to argue with me or whatever, then there's no point. So, with that being said, I'm going to leave it there. It has been a hell of a month, so enjoy the rest of your evening and be safe, everyone.